Hi, you're listening to Celluloid Codswallop with James and Gemma. Sit down and enjoy yourself, grab a snack, and have some fun. Welcome to this week's Talking Codswallop. It is in fact another edition of Celluloid Codswallop, and I'm joined by the wonderful, the exceptional, the filthy Head Scout.
Yep, that's me.
And you are well, I'm hoping, Joanne?
Yes, I am indeed, even though we've both now compared our medical history to find out that we're disasters.
Yeah, we're going to release a Patreon only funded edition where you can listen to us discussing our various medical ailments.
Yes, and for an extra $2 a month, we'll send you photographs of our scars.
That will be our big money spinner. I don't think mine, unlike my elbows and things, are going to pull in as much money as yours.
You never know, you might get somebody with an elbow fetish.
Well, that's true, actually. I didn't think of that one. Yeah, somewhere there'll be someone who's really big dig point, that gets them going, gets them the motor running, is elbows. So, yeah, actually.
Yep. You can have this thing, sexy elbows are standing by to take your call. Sexy elbows in your area are standing by to take your call.
So, without further ado, we're now on to episode 4 of Picard. And it opens quite interestingly on the Romulan encampment world. I was seeing all the various people, and I just noticed that you actually see them playing the card game that the lady in the last episode had gone a bit doolally. So the interesting thing is that obviously the little Romulan people, not little, but the Romulan kid, all the Romans are there, and Picard beams in. He also has a second job, which is, as we discussed previously, he is in fact selling tinned fruit to people, because he is the man from Del Monte.
I think possibly the Romulans can't grow pineapple on that planet, and that's what the point is. So they have to beam him down to Vashti, which is, I think it's named after the Babylonian princess who wouldn't show her face in court. So yeah, they can't get enough good fruit down there. So as you say, Picard is now the man from Del Monte.
Or he's getting, when he takes hat off, he's got a slight Roger Moore safari suit vibe going on.
Yeah. Definitely a Nazi on the run after the World War run, through hiding out in Brazil.
It is the boys from Brazil. So Picard goes in to see the warrior nuns, doesn't he? Who are also looking after a little boy, and they have something called the absolute way of candor, which is something I think you would be perfect with, Joanne, because you do not suffer fools gladly.
No, I have no filter. I have absolutely no filter at all, but mine is the filthy way of candor. And as I'd said before as well, the art of Candorel, which is excessive use of sweetener. But no, they are exactly the same as me. They don't understand how to. They don't really have a public facing image, really. Yeah, they just say what they think, and I would say that probably gets them into trouble. Probably they don't sexually abuse people at the same time like I do, but hey.
What I found very interesting, and it's something we're not going to lie, we discussed previously, we had a technical issue, is the fact that Picard has something in common with John and I, which is he's not a great fan of children. And they pull him up on this one, don't they? Or the little boy pulls him up on this one. And he's quite upset, saying, I thought you liked me. And he's saying, well, I do like you, but I've also bought you like a present of a book, which in his case is, and I think this is a lean towards the fact Picard is French. He brings a copy of The Musketeers, doesn't he, for the little boy to read. He sat talking with them, discussing the fact that obviously his concern is that, the little boy has no male role model because he's just been looked after very well by the warrior nun people. Yeah,
that these warrior nuns have taken this wee boy in and raised him to be a warrior, even though he technically can't be a warrior because he's male and they're a female set. And I'm still not going to try and pronounce that warrior set, which, I'll give it a go. Quumat Milat. Their apologies to any Romulans that are listening. It's not me being racist. It's just me being stupid.
We then get it obviously ties into the fact that they've been discussing the Three Musketeers, but you see Picard fencing or play fencing with the boy with sticks, and then you have a little nice sort of grandfatherly moment, even though Picard isn't a fan, where he the little boy leans his head on him when he's reading to him. And then, unfortunately, the point shit gets real, doesn't it? Because with his weird little earpiece thing, Picard is made aware by Raffi that basically the synths have gone rogue and are destroying the shipyard on Mars. And Picard then gets back to his man from Del Monte look.
He leaves his pineapples behind and hits the road.
And he does his little hand thing.
That's their hand job down on the planet. It's the Picard hand job. I don't know whether you name your each episode, but yes, this really should be called the Picard hand job.
Yes, that'd be a brilliant idea. But as you sort of said, the sad thing is that the little boy, obviously, his only male sort of role model probably is Picard. And you can see that he's sort of devastated because Picard's gone with sort of he's had no other option, has he, but to basically beam one out there.
Yeah. When you're that age and you're a kid, you don't believe it when adults say to you later on, I had no option. You think you left me? Yeah,
totally. Now, going from that point, we've done that's been 14 years prior. And I do like the fact they're doing that to give you a bit of each episode. Certainly in the last one as well, they've done the 14 years prior to give you an idea of what's been going on. So we jump forward to see the here and now, in the cutthroat mad world of space travel, which really looks a bit dull because you've got your Han Solo style captain reading his book, and I'll let you discuss, Joanne, I think, from here. What disrupts his wonderful, pleasurable book reading?
Well, I know he's reading on existential doubt and being faced with death, and what walks in but fecking Agnes, giving off, I'm bored, I've read everything that I can read, blah blah blah, you've only Klingon opera, and you can just see your man going, really? Just fuck off, love, would you? But she knitters on at him, and he's been reading this book now for 3 episodes, and he doesn't really look like he's that much further in. So either he's a slow reader, or Agnes has just not left his side.
See, I can't work out with Agnes. I was going to ask you what your take on this one. Is Agnes being lined up to sort of be a love interest for the captain, you think?
Oh my goodness. I hope not. Now there's a sex scene that I'd be both wanting them to, well, he can stay naked, I'm happy enough with that. But she needs to just go beyond the Soji Sports Direct outfit and needs to wear a suit of armor, because that's one I would not want to see naked. She is so incredibly annoying. I just can't stand the character. Nothing personal to the actress, because I know they're different people in real life. But the character is just... I keep hoping that maybe she is a Romulan spy, so somebody will shoot her eventually, because I'd have shot her by now. I mean, Raffi was right. She should have been able to run a security check on her. And if I had been Raffi, I'd have just made something up so she couldn't get on board.
Because the thing I see with her is, at this point, is she's sort of almost feeling like that vibe of, not vibe, but that sort of character who's almost like a kid, like you said, I'm bored, I don't want to be here, it's crappy. Anyway.
Are we there yet? Oh, she's not great at all. She is total, are we there yet, Simpsons? And I just feel sorry for the captain, because he just wants a bit of peace and quiet. He has all these randomers on board. First of all, it was supposed to be Picard, and then it was Raffi as well, which he probably didn't mind. And now he's got Agnes. And as we can see later on, his crew's kind of growing.
But what I love is that Picard has been given a holodeck version of his shadow, the study in his shadow on the and he's all the information has been provided by his, I've fallen, I can't get up, home, help, man. And then you've got the holographic robot who, not robots, but the holographic sort of help man, sort of going through everything with the hospitality sort of droid, so to speak, which, to be honest, thinking about it, gives you a bit of a Star Wars vibe as well, doesn't it? Having like hospitality sort of droid thing around in holograms.
Oh, it's another one of these emergency hospitality, whatever it was, hologram. And I'm thinking, once again, it looks like the captain. Now, the emergency hospitality dude, he does say that the captain likes to keep to himself. I think the captain likes to play with himself. I think possibly that's one of the issues here. Because it always looks like the captain. Now, I feel sorry for this hologram because the captain hates him. I don't know why. We don't know what the backstory is there, but apparently he hates this hologram.
Yeah. You don't think like the captain's doing his own holograms, do you? In his spare time on that one.
He has the Lucky Charms one. He has the one in the black lab coat, and now he has this other poor sod who's probably had to set up all sorts of weird sex dungeon scenarios actually in that hologram or not holosuite. So maybe it's guilty conscience on the captain's part.
And if you ever, the other thing I've noticed, look, because they're all sat around obviously in the holographic study, they discuss the fact the planet that they're going to go to is basically, it's gone from being somewhere that could have been all wonderful and happy to basically just being a buggered sort of thing where everyone's sort of basically fighting themselves. And there's extreme civil war there, which I find strange Picard wouldn't have known. I mean, I know he's out the loop, but none of these people are exactly in the loop, are they? So
no, because Rafi comes in, demand, say, I've seen this flight plan. You've changed it. You've put in another pit stop. We're going to Vashti, and he says yes. And what I loved was she says, you can't even take a guilt trip without taking a spaceship or without getting a ship, and which I thought was really quite good. But yeah, she knows rightly that he feels guilt for what had happened to before and what has happened recently as well with Dada's daughter. But at the same time, it's throwing a wee bit of a spanner into their plan to get to Free Cloud. And as you say, this planet as well, there's a lot of mercenary action in that quadrant. Something called the Free Rangers, I think, had set up some sort of defense system around the planet, but that they appear to be some sort of good peacekeeping type force. But they're not doing an awful lot there because it's too much for them. But yeah, it was the Romulan rebirth movement seems to have really taken hold on that planet, and they're quite worried about it. Rafi's amazed that he doesn't know, or Rafi's amazed that the captain didn't tell Picard, but at the same time, the captain doesn't know what Picard knows or doesn't know. It's not up to him.
The point raised by one of our lovely listeners was the fact that Rafi calls Picard JL.
Oh, God.
And one of our listeners seems to find this unacceptable.
Yeah.
I see that as a bit of power play from Rafi, that she's sort of like, she does it to sort of say, maybe to push his buttons a little bit, and he sort of got used to it. Would anyone else have had the guts to call him JL? Probably not. What do you reckon to that?
Yeah, every time she calls him that, all I can think is JML, which are the ones that advertise on TV for mops and things and weird things that you watch at 4:00 in the morning when you're drunk and you think that's a really good idea. I need that in my life. And yeah, that's all I can think of every time she says JL. It's quite annoying for a lot of people. I've seen quite a few folks online saying, oh, come on, stop that. Nobody calls Picard JL. It's like she's trying too hard.
I mean, I do like the fact, speaking of the way things are going, that I've noticed that they all seem to dress alike. So they've sort of got a look. Well, they all look like they should be going hiking. They all seem to be wearing body warmers or gilets and a black clothing.
Oh, hark at you and your gilet. Yes, indeed. It is a bit Mountain Morehouse? So we've had Sports Direct so far with the sex scenes, and Mountain Morehouse now are sponsoring everything else.
I think you're on the money. It's all a giant sponsorship thing going on.
There should be a little thing scrolling across the top of the screen, because I noticed it in something that's may contain product placement. They needed a card.
So we cut from the ship to we actually see the Borg cube, where a little video is discussing from the poor lady who'd lost her ship last time and got a bit bonkers trying to kill the people, making reference to the destroyer. And then we do a very quick cutback, don't we, to the ship Picard's on. And basically they're sort of saying to them that, well, the planet has got all these different forms of like defenses and, we might be able to get you onto the planet. But by the looks of it, we can't do anything because no one's responding to anything properly. So we're going to have to pay them off to try and get onto the planet. Yeah,
I think Picard would be a bit surprised, that his name wasn't welcome.
Yes, because you would think, wouldn't you? And I guess that's the point where Picard's probably thinking, because he feels he's done all this stuff, that he's going to cut the, his name will cut the mustard and it'll get him on there. But Rafi basically says to him they weren't impressed. And he looks a little surprised by this.
They weren't impressed at all. Well, I suppose it's very different for them. Picard has been holed up in his chateau, eating cheese, sniffing dog farts, whatever it is he's been doing for 14 years. And these people have been literally through the war. They haven't had any pineapple delivery in 14 years. Oh. No wonder they're fucked off with them.
My God. I think you're right. I never looked at it from that point. They have no fresh fruit.
Yeah, they can't make
No
fruit
fresh
salads. Nobody's had a strange moment with a banana in 14 years, and no wonder they're angry.
I mean, look at it. It's sort of like a desert-style planet. Of course, it makes perfect sense. They're all going to be vitamin C deficient. They've all got scurvy.
That might explain some of the bumps on their forehead. It's actually scurvy. It's not because they're stubborn northerners. They've got scurvy.
Yeah, it's scurvy, all right. My God, we're so on the money on this one. We never even knew it.
Do you know, CBS should really be contacting us. Never mind, Will Wheaton, if you're listening to this, you need us on your ready room, because we can bring a unique direction and insight into what is really going on.
Yes, we can. Oh, yes, we can. And they love us because we're not like Americans. We've got entirely different accents, so it'll sound brilliantly wonderful for them. They will love us. So, hit us up.
Yeah, and they'll not understand what I'm saying half the time, because right enough, most of it will be bleeped out, because I probably forget. I am the art of candor after all. So the art of filthy candor. So there's no mission of me toning it down a bit.
Well, the problem we have is that in America, they won't like any of the swearing and foul stuff, so we'll have to really tone it down.
I have to attend them in work. In fact, even that doesn't work. They understand what I'm like in work and are kind of used to it.
What will happen if we're on that show is it'll just be a constant run of high-pitched bleeping noise.
Yeah, anything even that I've seen things that have been bleeped that have been clean statements, and it makes everything just sound so much worse. It makes it sound. I mean, we would just sound like pornographic. We sound filthy most of the times, but we'd be pornographic if you beeped us.
Sold. I'm up for that. That'll do me.
If you want to contact me on Hedge Scout, I get in contact with James and Gemma, and we'll see about organising this.
Oh, yes. So Picard goes down to the planet. I'll have to get us back on track. He goes down to the planet. He's trying to be friendly to all the people, but he's met with a frosty reception, to put it mildly. And she's this interesting point that says it's a Romulans only bar, isn't it, that's on there.
Yes. Which was very usefully said in English. Your sign would be in Romulan, and then your other sign would say, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah. Go fuck yourself, non-Romulans. Yeah. It sure as hell wouldn't be translated, would it?
If it's Romulans, it's like, this is a local Romulan, this is a local bar for local Romulans.
Why it doesn't say, no Romulans, no dogs, etc. So,
no Picards, no number ones. Where's this fucking dog? I'm sorry, I have to say it. It's been on my mind all day. No dog again. Yeah. Bastards.
No doggy.
No.
So he goes to see the people of absolute candor, who basically tell him, dude, you got old, which I did like. He's conversing with this woman, they're discussing things, and basically they hit upon the point, don't they, that had been said, which is, we thought we'd never see you again. We didn't ever think you'd be around. Which explains the reaction. And then, lo and behold, our ninjutsu warrior appears, who is the little boy all grown up, isn't he?
He is, yes. He's got Legolas ears, and his eyebrows are amazing. They're totally on fleek. I mean, he has Kardashian quality eyebrows. Not Kardashian as in Gal Dukat, Kardashian type eyebrows, but I'm thinking of the other tossers, the other Kardashians.
Yes, the American ones.
Here's the thing, actually. There's a difference between the last time Picard visited the head nun. He gave her a box of cheese. Now, he doesn't call it cheese, he calls it something else, but we know rightly in that box.
We do.
It's a box of cheese. He doesn't bring any cheese this time. No cheese, no pineapples, nothing.
No dog. He brought them nothing.
No. Unless the Romulans had his dog. Who knows at this rate?
I never thought of that one. Maybe the dog has been eaten.
Yeah. He didn't even. Just on a side note, he didn't even say cheerio to the dog in that episode where he was leaving. I couldn't do that if I had to leave my dog. I would just, for a long period of time. Admittedly, he's dead, so it's maybe slightly easier for me, but I would have to go and say cheerio.
And I don't think you even hear him say, look after the dog to them.
No, don't look after the dog. Don't let him hump too much furniture. Nothing. Not a thing.
He doesn't even say, make sure he doesn't go around eating birds again. Dear me. Picard, you're down a point on us. Oh, he's definitely down a point. now.
Yeah, he's a bad doggy daddy. Bad dog.
And the action then goes from being on the Romulan relocation planet to the Borg nightclub cube, where we're back with what she called Soji and Narek, who are having some sort of weird relationship crisis, discussing various different bits of information and where they can gather it from. And weirdly, I don't know what you thought of this, but they basically are going through areas of the cube, aren't they, to get some weird nightclub. It almost looks like some weird nightclub, like lasers going and stuff, where they're going to basically just slide down a. I don't know how can I describe it. I don't understand this scene. I don't really understand why they stuck it in. I don't. Yeah, it didn't seem to really do much. It didn't add anything to the story.
No, here's the thing about that scene. They went from the bar, and he mentioned, let's go somewhere else. I was slightly tuned out at that point, and I was slightly confused what was going on. And suddenly they're taking their shoes off, and they're sliding down this corridor. And I thought, well, you have no mission of any slidey surfaces on that artifact, given the fact that last time we discussed that they're all students. They're having sex. They're covered in grunge and grime and cum, to be honest. Yeah. There's not going to be a clean surface on that flipping ship. I can guarantee you now, if you tried to walk across that, your feet would be sticking to the floor. You would not be sliding down that corridor.
Yeah, it'd be worse than like some skanky old cinema, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I reckon you could actually probably go up the sides of the walls like Spider-Man. It would be that grungy.
But I mean, this is so then they decide to have a snow, which is fair enough. But then he starts quizzing her on passenger records. The guy picks his moments for these sort of questions weirdly, doesn't he? Because then she accuses him of lying, and they just have she storms off on him.
She says, what do you do? I'm just planting the seed. Well, it was a seed of doubt, but I thought, well, look, mate, we already know you've planted the seed. Your sister's really annoyed about the fact that you're planting your seed. I don't understand why that conversation wasn't happening when they were having a drink of Romulan ale in the scene before that. Why not just have the bar? Why go sliding down this smooth surface, which we don't believe exists, and then basically tell her she's a liar? And I think he's trying to confuse her.
Possibly, yeah. He's just trying to mess with her head, because you're right, it would have made more sense. They could have kept the weird sliding scene in, but they could have done the sliding scene and then gone back and had the conversation and a snog at the table. It was a strange one. Whether he's just trying to totally goose a brain or something, I don't know. But then we find out that basically, we cut from that. It does a very abrupt jump to the ship, doesn't it, to the ship Picard's got, and back to the planet. And we get to see that not only has man got mad skills, the Rios kid, he also has bread making skills by the looks of it, because he goes to sort of feed Picard, who sat chatting to the nun. But for Elnor is the chap, Elnor.
Yes, Elnor, yeah.
It's a weird scene, yeah, because Picard basically just almost said "fuck off," sort of thing. Not interested in you.
Yeah. I have to say, I don't cook very often because I'm shit cook, and I would be a wee bit fucked off if I handed somebody, right enough, in fairness, what I've just said actually would be probably somebody telling me to go away with my food because you can't really eat it. So maybe he's as crap a cook as I am. But the young fella, he is really, really upset because again, he's seen that Picard had left him last time, and then everything that had happened, and suddenly Picard's turned his back because there isn't an awful lot of interaction. It's like it's one of those things that if you've ever done anybody wrong and then you see them again, and you're really embarrassed when you see them again. Yeah. And it reminded me of the sheer awkwardness. Picard knows that he fucked up there.
It's true. There is that feeling that there's an awkwardness. But the thing that I thought was strange is he was sort of saying, wasn't he? He was sat chatting to the nun, sort of saying it's been really difficult. I understand he thought he was going to leave him. It was odd. He sort of with one hand, he pushed him away. But he was also sort of saying to her, I'm really sorry that he's been in this position, but he's been absolutely it must be brilliant and he's been great. And then you see him sort of showing that he's got this sort of samurai style, he's got a samurai sword sort of thing. They're discussing his wonderful fighting skills. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange way that scene's been written, because you can see the thing is that Picard is obviously impressed by him, but they're saying that what they're going to have to do is send him off to find his place in the galaxy sort of thing. He can't just stay on this planet hanging around with all the nuns. Is the way I see it, anyway. But
that sounds wrong.
I mean, in Picard's defence, he's trying to make amends, isn't he, with a young man? He's there talking to him, sort of. You see them having a one-to-one conversation. He recounts the situation with Data, which is a story he must have told in the past, because the lad says that obviously we know about this.
Yeah, because he remembers the name Spot, which is Data's cat, and he said, I'd really like to see cats. Now, I felt sorry for Elnor again, because Picard goes to tell a story, and I think Elnor was waiting for Picard to say, I'm really sorry. But instead, he tells Elnor a story, as you say. He probably told him about 64 million times before when he's back 14 years ago. And Elnor's probably thinking, oh, do I have to hear this again? Are you not even going to say sorry for leaving me behind? Even though your reasons were justified, probably wouldn't still seem that way to him. But it's a bit like, when you get older and you repeat yourself. Well, it's pretty much that.
Yeah. I know about that, because I think I sometimes do that. End up repeating stories. Oh dear God, what we're going to like when I get really old then?
Well, I'm a bit worried, because I'm going to be sitting in old people's homes shouting out things about PVC and catsuits and well, I probably end up making money, to be honest. I'll just throw my room open for people to come in and sit and listen to me. People want to come and talk to me. I'll say, oh, I remember the time my crotch ripped when I was dressed as Batwoman and I showed everyone my Batcave.
What I prefer them to do is to give, this is what your future is going to be, John. I want the people in the care home to give absolutely no information and no backstory. So when people walk in there, you sort of like ranting about these things called PVC leather. It ripped.
It'll be entertaining for them. Yeah. So yes, I can understand with Picard. He's probably repeating himself again, and but he's definitely, well, we talked about this before, he's definitely not the Picard that we knew in TNG.
Definitely not. And I really did feel that on the way he was interacting with I keep calling him the kid, I keep forgetting his name, but the kid. And because the kid asked him the question, doesn't he? Did you miss me? I'm sure he asked him that, doesn't he? Did you miss me? Or why did you leave me? And there's obviously a problem there. Because it's Elnor, isn't it? Elnor just sort of wanders off in a huff. Because what Picard's saying is, I sort of need your help. And then we cut to, now I'm interested to see what your take on this is. So Picard goes to the weird Romulans Only bar, whips the Romulans Only sign off in a real sort of like, fuck you to them, goes in and says hello in Romulan, plants himself. Now, this was obviously trying to go for a real sort of like, American civil rights situation with the, whites only idea. Picard goes and sits somewhere that is designed for the Romulans only. Romulans are obviously not impressed by this. He tries to order food. The Romulan server ignores him, the waiter. And then you see, because obviously when Picard first landed, these people in particular had spotted him, hadn't they? And they made communication of it. And then it kicks off from there. No way in God's green earth will I get this right, but is he called Tequim Adra? Who was a general or something at some point.
He was a senator,
Senator goes to sort of like, the Romulan senator goes to kick off with Picard over this. And to me, this had a very interesting element to it, because up to this point, I never really considered that everything had gone sort of wrong for the Romulans, and obviously they're feeling really, and probably, and understandably actually, really, really pissed, because the Federation and Picard have come to them saying, we'll do everything we can to help you, and they've been left feeling like second-class citizens, haven't they? Because like he says to him, you gave this brilliant, amazing speech, you told us you would make everything better, that we'd be safe, and this has not happened. Yeah, because you see the whole thing, they're saying like everybody, their family members, everybody was saved, everyone was offered this situation. And Picard tries to sort of make amends for this, doesn't he? To try and apologise, but understandably he's like seen as what, the hatchet man maybe?
Yeah, he kind of fucked up because he didn't take into consideration that when he left, he wasn't just turning his back on Starfleet, he was actually turning his back on the Romulans. Now, it was kind of a bit of a brave thing, because he's something like 7 minutes to get off the planet, because that there's that safe time within the planetary defense system that they can beam him out. But it's kind of ballsy off him going into that Romulan only bar. Now, he doesn't get served, but that totally reminds me of we were out on Saturday night. It was Andy and Amber from the Great Derelict podcast and Steve Robb from Steve's Prop Shop, and family and friends. And we were out and we realised that unless you were a big-breasted young woman, you couldn't get served at the bar. So I wonder, is that maybe that was wrong with Picard? If he had had long hair and big breasts, might he have got served at the Romulan bar?
I think if Picard had hair, it might help him, although there seems to be a lot of bald people at this bar.
The novel, and a wee short skirt and heels, it might have really helped him, because certainly that bar we were in, it took you to be having your bits on display before you would get served.
Well, to be fair, at least you didn't end up in this situation that Picard ended up in, where he's made to have a sword fight.
Well, yeah, this is Belfast on a Saturday night, so I reckon we had to stay there longer, and in a different part of Belfast, yeah, there would have been sword play. Well, it's maybe a different sort of bar, that sort of sword play. So I've gone off in a very different pattern there. Yeah, that would have made the whole Picard scene much more interesting. If Picard had gone into a gay Romulan bar, that would have been really good. I'd have liked that one.
I don't know. More Picard might fit in a gay bar, though. Think about it. He wears tight black clothing.
It's almost like the Artifact, isn't it, really? They're bound to have BDSM rooms in that Artifact. Gotta have. So Picard's in a gay Romulan bar, and the Artifact is really a BDSM club.
I think you're right.
See, again, CBS, this is the way you should really be writing this.
Goddamn right. So, speaking of swordplay then, so Picard is refusing to fight.
Sorry, everything you say is swordplay.
Okay, well, it is swordplay. So, Picard's refusing to fight. It's not looking too hot for him. And then, I keep forgetting his name. You're going to have to help me out. The young lad, the sword.
Can I just say, though, that somebody had, Picard wasn't willing to put his hand on another man's sword. He prefers to use his own.
Well, yeah, whatever he gets up to in that holodeck is between him and the holodeck.
Yeah. Oh, the emergency hologram. Oh, poor man.
God, the poor entertainment hologram, yeah. Oof. The things that hologram must see. What I did like, going back to the fight scene, though, is the fact that when the lad comes to save him, you see the big difference between how we would have seen Star Trek in the past to this Star Trek, where I don't know what the age rate on this is, but we see the former Romulan senator get beheaded because the lad says to him, basically, do you want to live? Do you want to die? And he won't. And he says to him, even the guy, even says to the former senator, Elnor, says to the senator, I really did hope you'd say you don't want to fight, and he just chops his head off. Now, to Picard's credit on what we said earlier, Picard is saying, look, I'm really sorry for the people it went wrong. I'm really sorry that everything failed. I let you down. The Federation let you down. Everything went, basically said everything went to shit. It went horribly wrong. And again, up to this point, you never thought how they must really feel betrayed.
I thought that was very good. Mm-hmm. It was very good. But the thing is, see, whenever that guy hands Picard the sword, I was genuinely frightened for Picard at that point, because you were very aware of his frailty. That yes, at one time he could fence and that he would have been very good, but all of a sudden there's this big burly guy dwarfing, quite a frail older man, and how is he going to get out of this? I was quite surprised when I was going to call him Elmo. That's a thing from the Muppets or Sesame Street. Tickle Me Elmo. When Tickle Me Elmo comes in and takes off the head of the senator, I honestly didn't expect Elnor to appear at that time.
Yeah, that surprised me too when I saw that, when I watched it. But he actually, I think we should call him Tickle Me Elmo. I think that's going to be our future name for him. So Tickle Me Elmo beheads him, and Tickle Me Elmo is about to get shot, and they actually beam them both out. And then what I would say is we did see, how we keep saying we never saw, it's not the Picard we know. The point when he's talking to Tickle Me Elmo, where he sort of admonishes him and says to him, this man didn't need to die. He really is pissed with him, isn't he? That's a callback to, I think, the old style or the Picard we're used to, where he wanted, he doesn't want anyone getting killed. He doesn't want anyone getting hurt. And he makes him swear that he won't kill people. and then they do the weird hand shit again.
Yes, they do the hand job. They have a hand job. But here's the thing. Do you remember every time they used to beam up, if they met somebody that they maybe beamed onto something, a ship or down onto a planet, and they had to bring someone back, and they would say +1 to beam up? He doesn't say +1, but Elmo, he goes up with Picard. And I'm thinking, hang on, the ship wouldn't have known what was happening at that time because they couldn't see, because they were starting to deal with the Romulan bird of prey. They were being approached by another ship, so they had to keep their wits about them then. They didn't know Picard had got himself into some shit and was being rescued. So how come both of them beamed on board? I think that was just one of those, somebody forgot to cross the T's and dot the O's whenever they did that. And it kind of took me out of the scene a wee bit, because being a total nerd, it annoyed me that unless I can't think of any technology that thinks, yeah, that person's good, we'll bring them at the same time.
Well, I'll tell you something that I noticed on the beaming. If you notice that in the past, it always used to be, right, you will stand still and you'd be beamed out, and you would have to be still. Now, they seem to be making a habit of showing them beaming whilst moving. Because you see Picard running, well, not running, but you see him walking away, when he's in his Man from Del Monte tin fruit phase, and they beam him. And yeah, normally I always thought the idea was that you'd have to stay still so the molecules don't get, fizzled or wherever. But yeah, they seem to have the habit of moving and being beamed now. It was interesting to see that Raffi was suitably unimpressed by the tickle me Elmo, wasn't she? Because he basically says you brought us a boy with a stick sort of thing.
Yeah, she's probably thinking, not again. And then Elmo sort of goes in there with when Picard asks him, why did you take up sword from me? And he says, because you hit the criteria. And what's that? That it was a hopeless cause. Oh, something like that. I can't quite remember how exactly they said it. And I kind of put Picard back in his box. I think that was his wee dig at him to say, you're probably not going to win this one, but I'll come along and save your ass.
Yeah, I'll look after you, old man. Pat, pat, pat. Let me make you a sugary drink.
That's it. I can pay you in 14 Werther's Originals and pineapples.
Now, we came to, when I first saw this scene, I think we've come to my favourite part of the show, because I just thought back to a conversation we'd had fairly early on, which is we cut to the Borg cube.
I've just had a flashback. Yes, I know exactly where you're going now.
So we cut to this scene that basically I think we're almost in softcore porn territory. And
yes.
I'm sorry, but what his sister is wearing and the way she interacts with him, they have got to be. There's definitely some weird incestuous shit going on, because the way she sat at that bed looking at him and sort of playing with him, going like, I suppose he's anatomically correct. Yeah, there's something seriously wrong with these two. Seriously wrong.
Yeah, she's clawing at him and sort of running her nails along him and waking him up and saying, "Oh, did you think it was her?" and flirting with him and sitting around the back of him. And I was waiting for her to peg him, to be perfectly honest. At one point, it got that bad. He's fully clothed, so in Star Trek, that's practically a come on from what we've seen so far. Yeah, that was a bit weird, wasn't it?
It's the way she sits back. She's got short skirt and she's showing her legs. And the whole thing, I thought, what the... I've got it playing in front of me now, but I just thought, what the fuck? I thought, Joanne and I are really on the money on this one. Really on the money.
Yes, because, I've been, as I always do, after I watch one of the episodes, start going online to see different bits and pieces, and I've watched a couple of things on YouTube. Nobody seems to be talking about the incest. This is Cersei and Jaime Lannister, which makes Soji Brienne of Tarth only the miniature version because of the love triangle there, and the sister's just too interested in her brother. Here's an interesting conspiracy. Nerd time. I heard this one. Is it possible that whenever Narek comes on board and he meets Soji for the first time, he says that something had happened to his brother? Now, we are led to believe that maybe his brother had died, whatever way he says it. Is it possible that the sister, who's called, and I say, Narissa, was she Narek's brother?
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Ooh, yeah, that's an interesting theory.
Yeah.
I've just seen her walk away from that bed, so that's some damn good surgery that's gone on there, if that's the case.
Yeah, she could be one of our first transgender characters, actually, within that.
God, that's a really interesting theory.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very interesting theory. But it was, I I mean, I was incredibly, when I watched it, I thought, Jesus, this is something. But I think we really have hit the nail on the head on the fact there's something very weird going on between those two.
Yes. See, this is it. The Talking Codswallop podcast is not afraid to tackle the issues. We go in hard, we go in often, we go in balls deep.
Yes, we do. I mean, the whole way she was sort of like playing around, and you said, no, his neck and stuff. Yeah, very pervy and creepy. So we've come out of the softcore porn territory and we've gone right into an action film, sci-fi action film, because the ship is getting like pummeled. And something I found really weird is you bring in, we discussed, didn't we, how like the captain has got all these different variants of himself as holographic members of the crew. But for some reason, is he like the navigator or the weapons guy? He's like him, but with like really long hair.
Yes, he's a weapons guy. Yeah, he's Oh well, they list him as on Memory Alpha as the emergency navigator hologram. Emmett, his name is. Now, nothing personal, but that guy is off his tits on something. I would really. I don't think I would trust him, and it's like he's been woken up from a really bad trip, and he's a strange one, and he's supposed to be, he's supposed to be helping them get out of the situation, but he just looks hungover or stoned or something. He's a total stoner. That's what he is. He's a stoner.
And why does he speak Spanish? I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, well, I can't take the piss out of a Spanish accent like I was able to with the Irish one, the Lucky Charms boy last week. But yes, I'm wondering how good that Spanish accent is. It's another strange one. It really is. Now, he seems to be quite good at his job, even though he's probably looking for his next fix or something. Here, maybe he and Rafi getting shit-faced together on a regular basis.
That wouldn't surprise me, actually. Smoking the weird little stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
God, that makes sense. Yeah. We've established this show has incestuous sex, drug dealing.
Yes.
Sex robots.
Yep. Sex robots, yes. Goths, body dysmorphia. There's another thing in BDSM where people enjoy cutting parts of their bodies off. Can't remember what it's called. That would be the Borg stuff. And yes, it's very different. Yes, I do think Emmett is Rafi's drug dealer. That's maybe how they originally met.
that would make so much sense.
Yeah.
So at this point, unbeknownst to us, so you've got the old clunker Romulan ship blasting them, and then a wee little Spears, which has no information about it. It's just like, well, the little navigating dude says it's a hideous ship, and the captain says it's like a wonderful pilot. And the ship assists them by blowing off one of the wings from the Romulan ship, but then takes a battering. Mm-hmm. I like the fact that like Picard sort of like steps into his old post at this point, doesn't he? He said, "Open a channel," and then says, "Oh yeah, not my place. Sorry."
Yes, and here's the thing: Picard is still standing. Now he beamed on at the last one of the episodes before, and he beamed on with a bag of fruit and a bottle of wine. Remember that drawstring bag? This time he's on board with a ninja, but he's always standing, and I just think he's the oldest person in the crew. Why is that poor man standing? Why have they not given him a decent chair?
I think he was sat down for a small period, wasn't he? I'm sure he did have a seat for a little bit of time, but they're not completely nasty and cruel to him. But I do like the fact that you see him jump back into that moment of authority, and it's like it is a proper Star Trek Picard sort of hand gesture, an issue of order, where he's sort of saying what to do. But I do love that moment where you see Picard go, "Oh, yep, sorry, not my ship, not my place."
Yes, that was a good one. It was a really sweet moment. He looked decently embarrassed, but the captain, he has the decency to just brush it under the carpet. Look, don't worry about it. He doesn't make anything of it because he knows that it's just Starfleet. You know, it's ingrained in Picard. Picard was a captain for a long, long time and an admiral, and it's just part of him. But the fact that Picard is acknowledged that he overstepped the mark that time, I think he's good. I think they're both good with each other.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was brilliant, but I love just that the hand thing with Picard, as he always did when he was a captain, open the channel. But they're obviously asking permission to beam aboard. And Picard then strangely steps in with absolutely no, even though like the emergency hologram, whatever it is, says, "Don't do it, it's not worth it." There's no argument. Picard just says, do it, and says, and logically says, beam the person to this point of the ship. He gets Tickle Me Elmo ready to
tickle.
yeah, with his tickle sticks.
I've just thought, actually, that Emmett guy, he's not the emergency navigator. He's the emergency drug dealer hologram.
Yeah, actually, God, yeah. Long
That's
hair,
what it is.
stone.
So he probably doesn't want somebody else on board nicking his stash.
Oh, God. Joanne, I think you're so on the money, you didn't even know it. But now I'm going to hand this one completely over to you, because I think this means more to you than it does to me. So we get the beam in, and who is it?
Oh, well, it's wank bank time, folks. It's 7 of 9. Yes, it's her. She was the pilot in the other ship that was assisting them. Screw you, Emmett. You nearly didn't let 7 of 9 beam on board, and you were going to sacrifice her. She's got a big cut in her head, so she's obviously maybe hit her head in the dashboard. You know, sometimes when you've had an accident. I tell you now, she's very lucky that those people that phone you up saying, have you been involved in an accident that wasn't your fault? She will have an awful lot of phone calls now going her way. But anyway, it's 7 of 9. And Picard says dramatically, 7 of 9. And she says, you owe me a ship, Picard. And then promptly passes out. It's glorious. So yes, she has been injured in an accident that wasn't her fault. And it was at work. She'll be doing those videos next, showing accident-related falls.
Oh, God, that's a brilliant way of she sound like a terrible pun, of assimilating that episode. I thought that was a nice payoff to have her to come in at that point. And it'll be interesting to see what she's been up to, because she's clearly completely on her own, with nobody else with her. Now, my question always at the end of these episodes is, Joanne, how did you find the show? How did you find the episode?
Well, I enjoyed this one a lot better than episode 2 and 3. I thought it was an improvement. It's closer to what number 1 had been. And funny, I was talking to somebody colleague in work today, and I was telling them that what we were doing about the podcast, because I just like to pimp us. And he said, what did you think of the rest of it? And he was the same. He really enjoyed episode 1, but he found 2 and 3 a bit lacking. In fact, he hasn't watched episode 4, so I encouraged him to do it. But I thought it was an improvement. Again, there's been some complaints online about it, that it felt like a filler episode. But I think, you had a lot in it. You had the man from Del Monte, you had Tickle Me Elmo, you had gay Romulans, you had a bit of incest, and then you had a drug dealer, and then you finished with 7 of 9. So, there was something there for everybody. I really enjoyed it. I probably would have given it about an 8.5. I'd have given it a 9 if number 1 had appeared.
Mm-hmm. When I first viewed it, I found it, I don't know, I couldn't get into it as much. I didn't feel sort of immediately drawn in. And on my first viewing, I thought to myself, well, if not much had happened, it's all been, again, like somebody had said, it had been a bit of a filler, because it felt like it dragged a bit. And then I thought, well, they tagged 7 and 9 on the end to make it interesting. But when I rewatched it, I thought, actually, this does work well. Maybe I've just not been in the right headspace on the first episode. But it gave you an awful lot of idea of where the backstory and things had come from. It was shot brilliantly, and I like the way it had been set up and directed. But of course, when I found out who had directed it, made perfect sense, because it was Jonathan Frakes, who's directed episode 4, and I believe he's directing episode 5 as well.
Yes, that was great. The original chairfucker himself, he did a great job. Really good job, because he shot some of Discovery as well, and they were very good episodes. And
I think he's an incredibly good director. It's sad that his last big feature film was Thunderbirds, but again, he's only going to be as good as what he's given to direct, isn't he? He can only work within the story that they give him. I would have given this one, should we say, out of 10, I'd probably give it about an 8 out of 10. Now, interestingly, when it comes to Jonathan Frakes, I'm very interested to see where Riker is going to be in the series. I have a hunch, and we'll see if this plays out, that Riker may be in the final episode.
Ooh.
I have a hunch they'll hold off. I could be totally wrong, he might be number 5. But part of me keeps wondering, are they going to hold off until the final episode with him, where Picard is going to want to be doing more travel, or space travel? Because he seems sort of saying to, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but, You see him sort of saying to Picard Picard saying to him in the trailer, "I'm glad you're not trying to stop me." Now, I could be wrong. Could be on his journeys to Free Cloud, but part of me just had this thought in my head that could they be holding off, keeping him off to the final episode to keep people viewing and surprise people? I don't know. We shall see.
I think that's a really good point, because I've seen the trailer for next week's, which looks like it looked to me more like it was something from The Last Jedi, when they're on Canto, what's his name? The casino, and some of the costumes that they were wearing and the setups, and next week looks really good fun. Plus, there was a shot of Seven of Nine with 2 rifles, with 2 phasers, shooting away, like very Terminator-like. So I thought this looks like a really good episode, but certainly, the Riker and Troy that vibe doesn't kind of fit in with what they've shown so far of the next episode. So you might be right. Actually, to be honest, in some ways, because I've seen that scene, that I would have expected it to be at the start of the series. Mm-hmm.
I was surprised you didn't see him with the Rikers in the first episode. And I just keep thinking it's going to be the payoff to get people waiting to the end. Because clearly it's either going to be on Earth or on some sort of Earth-style planet where he goes to see them. So my money is probably on the last episode. But, hey, only time will tell.
Good point.
And it'll be interesting to see, the setup with Riker is. Because I did a little bit of research, and I understand that in some of the continuation novels and things, Riker actually became an admiral himself. So whether that will be treated as canon, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what the setup is.
Yeah, he was a great character. He's a great character. He's a great director. Geordie LaForge is another fantastic director, apparently. So it's nice to see that the guys have sort of broke out, and that they're not just remembered for being actors. They're remembered for some beloved episodes of the Star Trek franchise. So I always think it's a really nice touch whenever you see them involved in anything. I keep actually forgetting that the Rikers are going to be in at some point, because they didn't appear at the beginning, and the way it is at the moment, you can't imagine how they're going to fit in.
Which is why I keep thinking it's going to be a tag for the final episode, because we know there's a season 2 coming, we already know about that. I think it's going to be a push where they're going to be going, right, here's your little, we're whetting your appetite for the future. And to me, to put them in writing at the end would make a lot of sense. So it's a little pat on the head and thank you to the fans, but we shall see. We shall see.
That's a good one. Oh, here, do you want to hear another weird theory?
Go on.
There's
then.
Another weird fan theory out there, that Naj is actually going to be the next cyborg queen.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Now that would. Oh, God, that'd make, the Destroyer.
Yeah, so she's going to be the next queen. What the fan theory is that Maddox, who wanted to take Data apart before in one of the TNG series, because he wanted to study him. The reason why he wanted to do that was because he himself is a synthetic, and he wants to, but they're different sort of synthetic, so they wanted to see how Data was actually put together so that they could improve their own stock. But I'm not quite sure then how Soji becomes the new cyborg queen. I tried to wrap my head around that one. I could understand where the Maddox bit had the possibility of him being the synthetic, but not why that would make Soji a queen. Of the cyborgs. Why? So that's a bit of a weird theory. I can't quite wrap my head around that one, to be honest. But I kind of got excited at the thought of it, and then the more considered it, I just couldn't see why that would be, because Data just completely refused her that time. He wouldn't have anything to do with her. So might it not be that it wouldn't appeal to Soji either? But this Great Destroyer thing is the mystery. It's the ongoing mystery throughout the series.
Well, I know they've said that Alice Krieg is coming back at some point, but I don't know if she's in this series. I don't know if she's in the next series. So the Borg Queen must be back in some form or another. I don't know what the setup of how they're going to use it, but they definitely said that she is filming something for the show.
Wow! So, I didn't heard that one.
Yeah, I heard that a bit ago through various different sources. But yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, I really am looking forward to seeing what they can do in the next episode. Then I'm hoping that 7 and 9 gets to be like a real badass and kill whatever she needs to kill. So
Agnes. That's who she needs to kill. She needs to kill Agnes. It can be made to look like it was an accident.
You really don't like Agnes, do you?
I can't stand her at all. I can't see any point in the character, and if she is a Romulan spy, by fuck, she's good. She is really good. Or she's working for Commander Roy Orbison. Maybe she's not even Agnes. Maybe she is something else altogether. Maybe just a completely different, a random Romulan.
Well, you know what, Joanne? We've not been too weird on some of our, too off on some of our thoughts so far. We got the weird incestuous crap, so, we might be right. Or you might be right on that.
But anything that's maybe slightly filthy, we generally get it right. Well, in our imaginations anyway. It's our fantasy we're going to live.
Well, on that bombshell, as they say, I think we've been talking enough codswallop on this episode of Celluloid Codswallop. So I have been James.
And I've been Joanne, and I'm glad we got to do this because we had some technical issues to start off with.
Damn right we did. But we've done our best to beat those odds. So on that note, catch us next time. We'll be discussing the next episode of Picard. And if anybody listening has any theories or any things they want us to discuss, as we discuss the use of the word Picard being called JL, please drop us a line in whichever way you want to. And thank you very much for listening.